York. The train was carrying 238 passengers and 5 crew members and derailed in the Port Richmond neighborhood of Philadelphia. Philadelphia Mayor Nutter said of the Level 3 mass casualty event,
"Never seen anything like this in my life."
The horrific wreck that mangled the front of the train and tore 7 train cars apart has so far claimed the lives of 7 people. 7 others are fighting to stay alive and at least 200 were injured. This is the 9th derailment for Amtrak this year. The train was traveling on the Northeast Corridor. Amtrak can operate these intercity services at speeds as high as 125 miles per hour. Of course, speeds like this are aimed at the transit system's bottom line, not the safety of the passengers.
Probably 95% of the time when you hear about passenger derailments or regular trains that are carrying freight crashing, they haven't updated in about 50, 60 years the rail beds in this country. You used to, when my dad was a child and his mother was getting her master's degree in Houston, my grandmother, they would get on the train in Teague, Texas. They'd drop her off in the morning, and it would bullet train at over about 105 miles an hour. This is like in 1955. My dad's about 5 years old, to Houston. On that very same stretch of line, you can't make freight go over 45 miles an hour on that very railroad today. 105 miles an hour was the safe speed in 1955. Now you can't go half that, basically. That's why the trains are flying off the tracks. They are pieces of junk. When you're on New York subways and they're flying around and it's jumping up and down, it's rotting, but nothing compared to the general rail lines. The railroads are basically the worst in the world. Mexican trains get up to 75 miles an hour, and they've got bad railroads.
Back in 2005, the same man that blew the whistle on Cheney's orders on 9/11.
And when it got down to the plane is 10 miles out, the young man also said to the vice president, "Do the orders still stand?" And the vice president turned and whipped his neck around and said, "Of course the orders still stand. Have you heard anything to the contrary?" Secretary of Transportation Norman Mineta of the Bush administration warned that the rail system today is an antique, adding today's system is basically a 1950s-style model. Mineta recommended that most of the Amtrak's rehabilitation funding come from the states in a nonpartisan manner. The Obama administration would have the funds come from the imagined infinite wellspring of federal taxpayer dollars, so that friends like Rahm Emanuel can reap the benefits of yet another slush fund. Sarah Feinberg, acting administrator of the Federal Railroad Administration, was appointed on January 9, 2015. From 2009 to 2010, she served in the Obama administration as special assistant to the president and senior advisor to the White House Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel. Her actions in the coming weeks should be carefully scrutinized as Obama rolls forward on this. Amtrak has been hemorrhaging money. As of 2012, Amtrak has been subsidized by the federal government for $1 billion per year and loses $600 million per year on its longer routes. The derailed train was on one of its profitable short routes, putting lives in danger to try to balance the returns. Meanwhile, the DHS, the DEA, and TSA prey on train passengers, risking their lives on a decrepit transportation system rife with corruption.
A young man with a dream to make it big in the music business says he saved up $16,000 in cash and hopped on an Amtrak train from Michigan in hopes of getting to Los Angeles. Agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration boarded the train, asked to look through his luggage, and ended up taking his cash, all $16,000 of it.
They didn't give him a reason. They didn't say anything was suspicious.
John Bound, INFOWARS.com.
Jakari Jackson here for INFOWARS.com. Got a new article for you guys today talking about gun grabbers, but this is a little different spin. Today we're going to talk about guys who don't want you to have guns and vote to take your guns away while they not only own guns but use them for illegal purposes. Case in point, this is Senator Virgil K. Smith out of Michigan, and he's under arrest for allegedly shooting his girlfriend's car with a shotgun. And update to the article has been out, and it says now he has been charged with domestic violence and shooting incident with his ex-wife, and he has been removed from committees and relieved of his caucus duties. And this is just one guy. Of course, you guys probably recall him, Mr. Yee, Senator Yee out of California, and he was running guns, and but but of course you want to take your guns away while he's involved in illegal activities. But it's not always criminal activities you guys are up to. Of course, we know about Mayor Bloomberg. He has an armed security force, but if you want to own a gun, he has a problem with that. Let's go ahead and watch this clip.
Mayor Bloomberg, how you doing? Jason, I go to Brooklyn. Okay. In the spirit of gun control, will you disarm your entire security team? Get right back to you. You'll get back to me? Would you like a sip of my soda?
There's a little glitchy there, but you guys get the point. Basically, this journalist confronts Mayor Bloomberg, who is a very strong anti-gun proponent. Says, hey, will you get rid of all these guys with guns? He's like, oh, we'll get back to you on that. And it's not just there. You guys probably recognize her, Madam Feinstein, and let's listen to what she had to say.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it. I could not do that.
Because she did not have the votes. And of course, she did have a concealed carry, but she doesn't want you to have one. And, you know, we've seen guys like a lot of the talk show pundits, they have armed security that will respond to their homes if there's some type of incident. And we'll end with this. Our, I guess, officially gone Attorney General has been replaced. And an interesting thing about Eric Holder, if you guys recall, he was supposed to retire all last year, and they kept pushing it back, And I guess they found the best time to do it was during the Baltimore incidents. The stuff was going on out there, and I guess continuing to go on as far as the court case. But he was supposed to retire last year, but they pushed it back. So now when they have the new lady in, and hopefully she'll be much better and do a much better job. But now if you want to criticize the Justice Department, if you want to talk about Fast and Furious or about this clip we're about to show you here, well, there's Eric Holder, there's under a different guy, so you can't blame the Justice Department anymore. And hopefully she will be a breath of fresh air, but well, I'll just have to wait and see. But I'll end tonight with this. And you guys can find more reports on INFOWARS.com.
Part of every day, some kind of anti-violence, anti-gun message. Every day, every school, at every level. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Well, that's it for our show tonight. Be sure to go to prisonplanet.tv and get yourself a free trial. You can see the nightly news, the special reports, the rants, all right there on prisonplanet.tv. It supports our broadcast and gives you a first-hand look at the great information. And also go to YouTube. Check out the Alex Jones channel. You can subscribe. We have over 1 million subscriptions right now, so you can be one of the many people. You will be in good company with other great patriots. Well, I'm Jakari Jackson from the InfoWars Command Center, and we will see you again tomorrow night.
So see, they're lying to us. Their own Jade Helm handout says the things we've said, and then they tell the media it doesn't exist.
Are you going to use our local people to help with that?
So we're not training any type of law enforcement during this training exercise. It's not happening. The only coordination now that will take place is we're just letting them know, hey, here's what happened the last 24 hours. Here's what's happening next 24 hours.
Because there are times where we ask at times the law enforcement folks to do a traffic stop for us, to check our guys, to see why they're doing what they're doing, when they're doing it, and why they're doing it.
Then they came to Austin and Bastrop and said none of this was true, and they never said it, and laughed at us. Should we play the clip? We've got that cut out, right?
Now, we're talking about role players, and you mentioned the role players. I'm curious as to how you guys came about these role players.
As far as the role players go, they are going to be service members.
We can't do the exercise without the public's help. Things that we look for from that perspective is we look for people that are willing to be a role player.
The colonel, with this guy behind him, puppeting him, says, no, we're not going to be in the town.
RMTs are training that is conducted off of the federal reservation. It's done on private property.
And how will we know that it's special military officer in town to be trained, or will we know? Is this going to be covert?
Well, a lot of it, Your Honor, is going to take place on private land or private property. So that's going to really negate out a lot of that. But if somebody's
And they may be driving civilian vehicles throughout the area. So really, within the city limits, if you notice my guys, they're probably really doing something wrong.
I mean, it's just crazy. We should call it the lies of Jade Helm.
But suppose it should come up, who has the supreme voice? You?
It's the community. It is the community, sir. So if you guys tell us, hey, we have something going on and we don't need you guys or we don't want you guys, sir, it's truly an invitation.
My name is Casey DeClue, and my question is more posed towards the Commissioners Board. As citizens, since we are so disturbed by this training, is there anything that we can do to reverse this decision? Or,
we should be able to. I mean,
can we vote?
As a vote.
Do we need to protest? What can we do to have our voices heard?
Well, I think, Ms. Blue, your voices have been heard today, and we thank you for that.
there's nothing you can do about it.
I can't say what the court would do about it.